Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us back here. Late Night Live, remembering it's part two. Part two, we're back in it. And without further ado, we'll bring in a quick call I made to Talk Sport the night after the wonderful game. Exactly 24 hours after it, just after 8 o'clock, to Danny Kelly.
An incredible result last night, and in its own way, a brilliant performance. Certainly to win a football match with 17% of the possession takes some doing. To do it against Barcelona suggests some kind of alchemy. Tommy is an old friend of the station in Glasgow. He wants to come on and give us his opinion of everything that went on. Evening, Tom.
Hello there.
Hello, Tommy. Great to hear your voice again on Talk Sport, Tommy.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
What do you want to say?
I'm a bit of an expert in these two teams. I love them both. I've been to, a good few El Clásicos. The first one was the 5-0 just 2 years ago. And I went to the final in Wembley. And the Barcelona are a magnificent team, but they've come down somewhat since those high levels when people of such esteem as Harry Redknapp saying they were the greatest side ever. So they were a great team. But the key is the defence was a shambles last night, and it has been. It's never had Piqué or Puyol for a while, and it's suffered greatly. Mascherano was great sitting as a midfielder, holding it together, allowing Alves and Abidal to go on the flanks and allowing the attack. But and added to the fact that Xavi has come off the pace a bit, Iniesta wasn't effective, and Messi. But
Tom, it's a very interesting point you're making. I happen to agree with you, but you always you want to whisper it almost because people will say you're a madman. But Barcelona are not quite the football team they were 24 months ago, are they?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly.
They're a good team. This is not detracting anything from Celtic, and I'll get on to that in a second.
No.
They're a great team. They're probably one of the best in the planet just now, but they're not the super team that they were a couple of years ago. They could have defeated any team put in front of them from any generation. Now, what they've got is they've got severe problems in defence, but how Celtic combated that last night. Now, I went to the new camp, and I went there expecting Celtic to win, because I thought with the attack that they've got and how they can play, and they didn't do it, but never mind. And last night, I knew it was coming. I knew that they had the ability to do it, and they did. And it was because, and this is a key thing, Celtic have had to develop what we would call a 12th man in the fans. Now, it was there for the world to see. The Celtic fans are the best in the world at generating an atmosphere.
Tommy, I was telling Stuart, I watched the game on TV, and I have to say, obviously, crowd noises are manipulated by TV companies and all the rest of it. What struck me as being amazing was it was like watching football in the 1970s from one particular way. The crowd at Celtic, the noise went on. Well, you expect that at the start of the game, but it went on for the full 90 minutes, like they used to do in Bayern Munich's ground, in Ajax's ground, when they had air horns and all the rest of it. I thought the crowd was simply astonishing last night. And Stuart, you know that helped. That does.
There's no question about it. If you've got a crowd behind you making that much noise, and you're trying to defend for your lives, and you get a block in, that sometimes doesn't get any applauded at all, and there's 60,000 people applaud it and screaming at it every time you make a block, it just inspired the team, and they played with extra energy. They played with greater verve at times than Barcelona.
So much so that Gerard Piqué, who, let's be fair, is used to playing in some pretty big football matches, said that he'd never been in an atmosphere like it in a tweet he did afterwards when he came off the bench. Thank you very much indeed, Tommy, for pointing out there, Stuart, that all teams evolve, and we are absolutely inclined to focus on Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, etc. But if you think about that Barcelona team 2 years ago, Daniel Alves does what he does, but Puyol was at the peak of his powers, a World Cup winning defender, a proper defender. Piqué, who came on last night late, was also, we were starting to realise what a brilliant footballer was. And Eric Abidal, he may not be as good as Jordi Alba going forward, but he showed, but for France particularly, but also playing centre-half for Barcelona over the years, that he too is a proper modern defender. They don't have that kind of defenders at the moment.
Barcelona still do things that other teams can't do in the attacking third of the field. Some of their combination play, some of the individual brilliance from Lionel Messi, that's still absolutely top drawer. But if you don't defend high up the field when you haven't got a proper defence in place, I don't understand how the team at the top of Europe can not go and buy and work at the defensive side of the game in the back areas.
It's almost they're so proud of what they do. They're cocking a snook, to use an old-fashioned phrase. There's been a goal at White Hart Lane.
You're cooking a snook. Yeah, they're cocking a snoot, the old Barca boys. But what they've done is, because the Catalans are fine, lovely people, and they've obviously realised they were in a different stratosphere, and to make it a wee bit easier, they've obviously aged a wee bit, and PK's took a wee break, and Puyol as well, and they're just pacing themselves, and they're giving everybody a wee chance. Know what I mean, they're coming down a wee bit so that the Celtic can win it this year, so that we can take 300, half a million. I think Celtic could take at least 250. How many did they take to Manchester? 250,000. We'll take 251. We'll just raise the bar that wee bit more. I think we could take half a million. We could just flood the whole of Wembley. Anyway, Glasgow Celtic, yeah. What a team. And for me, what a night. I still can't get over how I was so lucky to be invited. And for my brothers who made the call through Twitter and the lovely huddle board, and a brother contacted me, said, "Sure, Tommy, come along at the door, take my number." By the way, I meant to phone that brother, thank him. I never get a chance to do it. I need to do it. I've been that busy. That's not an excuse. Procrastination. Yeah, no, I forgot. I clean forgot. So I'll phone him and say thank you. I was on the bottom of the list of the, the guest list. I was on the guest list. I was more tickled pink about that than anything. I could actually get on the guest list. I mean, I paid my money, but I wasn't about anything. I paid my money and got my wee card in the programme, and then got my pew in the chapel of all chapels. As I said in the Bull Graham, to get anybody who's a Celtic fan now, if they've not been to that chapel, I would advocate that they should go there. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Stunning. You don't have to be a Catholic to go in there and enjoy that church. You just have to be a Celtic fan. The history. I can't believe that was the first time I've been in that lovely chapel. It's just sitting there. I drive past it. On the way it was meant to be. It's a hidden gem. It doesn't look much from the outside, but by gosh. Tommy Burns was carried in there. Men 125 years ago, 1 week ago, 125 years in 1 week, stood with dreams of how to help people who were starving, people who had nothing, people who had not a pot to piss in, people who came to this land discriminated and treated like second-class citizens, hounded out their own land because of lack of food, or the deprivation of food. There wasn't any food in that land at that time of the famine, or after it, as it was restricted, and livestock were exported out. Foodstuff, vital foodstuff that could have fed the Irish who were starving was exported to Great Britain. Shame on you, Britain, you treacherous monster, you bastard. When you say least we forget, yeah, we don't forget. No, we remember too well. We know the real truth, not the truth from a liar. We know how you butchered and raped and mutilated Irish men, women and children, how you stole and robbed and butchered your way from Cromwell's time to just now. You evil bastards. You look down your gun and you dare to call us terrorists when we fight back to take back what has been stolen from evil criminals. The least we forget, eh? The least we forget, right enough. No, we don't do forgetting. We don't do walking away. We stand and fight and say Chucky Allah And hey, look what's happened. Your team's bust, you get a bankrupt ideology, your fans are stupefied zombies. They've not got a fucking clue how to save their club. Chancellors and crackpots and shysters and spivs walk in and out, ripping your club to pieces, and you're too thick because you're sitting there waiting for the Messiah to come in and save you. Someone who's going to come in, King Billy and his steed will come to the rescue. Sir Minty Boys and his moonbeams will lead you onwards to European glory, not bust, chasing the dream, because Big Jock knew how to lift the European Cup and Walt fucking Disney. Welcome back, Walt. Pay your fucking taxes, Walt. Anyway, sorry I digress. Yes, look at the shambles that walked about Ibrox. All those illegal invaders walking about. Well, we should be thankful for small mercies, because while they're walking about IPOX-ridden arena, they weren't walking about other people's lands, killing and butchering and murdering and stealing. No, so we should be thankful they were just waving at daft zombies. Oh, look, rule Britannia, Britannia rules them. What does Britannia rule? It rules nothing. I will suppose it rules some daft zombies who pledge allegiance to a daft queen, who shafts them up the bakey, who shuts her club down. Yeah, there's your loyalty. We shut your club down because you don't pay your bills. Oh, and let me see. Why was there no people there with disabilities, with legs blown off? Why was there no wheelchairs wheeled out? Would it be too much to say that they were embarrassed? Least we forget that they didn't pay their tax bill. Least we forget that maybe some people could have been saved. Limbs could have been saved, arms, protection, body armour. Gordon Gentle from Pollock, Glasgow, killed because the government couldn't afford the proper protection. Maybe down IPOC's way, because everything is handed to them in a silver spoon from the Masonic cabal. They can't add up what 2 and 2 makes. Don't pay your taxes. Can't fund the soldiers. Poor infrastructure. Poor weaponry. Poor defence. Higher casualties. Higher deaths. Football club says it believes in Britain, rule Britannia. Claps away, supports the soldiers, but doesn't pay the tax to pay for the protection of the soldiers. So maybe it's too much to ask for people to come in with legs blown off and in wheelchairs, because then people would say, just the point that I've made, pay your bills, pay your taxes, gets better protection. But the point for myself, well, I remember the people who set up Glasgow Celtic like a week ago, and the charity of what they did was so special. So special that, well, we have to give it. I think people should go there into that chapel and give thought on that and see what it inspires them to. See where it takes you to. Because it inspired me. Believe you me. It inspired me. Everybody's got a gift. Human beings are the most creative animals on God's planet. The fact that we communicate in the level that we can raises us up above every other animal in God's kingdom. Just because some people have got this ability to communicate better than others doesn't mean that they're better people. Some of the greatest communicators have been the most evil bastards out there. Yeah, so they claim greatness. But they're evil bastards, just because they can talk. I realise I've been given a wonderful gift. Ma almost dropped my head on the Blarney Stone, but I managed to get a good kiss. And hey presto, I worked with a lovely Jewish American company, specialised in sales. I read Tom Hopkins, I read Think and Grow Rich, I read Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world. It was about stuff about Jesus and the shroud and the greatest salesman in the world. Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, Ron Holland, Talk and Grow Rich, self-help books that anybody can go out and read. How to close deals, how to talk. It's all out there. And the most remarkable thing was when my wee nanny died. I said a prayer for God to take her away because it was killing my mum, and gave me a wonderful daughter. We called her the same name after my wee nanny, and it reaffirmed my belief that there was a God because my prayer was answered. My nanny had seen it. My granda from Ardoyne, Belfast, who came over to work in the shipyards to get away from the discrimination of Belfast. I'm sorry for rabbiting on. So for me, remembrance is remembering my family, remembering where they came from. In that chapel, Dermot Desmond turned up, Peter Lawwell, Billy McNeil, Davy Hay, so many fine people. And we sat and we listened to a reverend of the Church of Scotland variety. Forgive me for not being able to quote his name just now, but what a wonderful guy. In a lovely green vicar's tunic, reverend tunic, beautiful. And he had everybody rolling in the aisles. He was a funny guy. And for a long time, for me, for people who can open their mouth and talk, yeah, it's all very well and good. But there's a responsibility with that. And people who are able to talk like Hitler or great orators, you need to be careful of them. They lead the people down the bad path. But me likewise, I'm leading you down the fundamentalist internet Bampot path. So woe betide you if you don't get off my Taliban taxi tour now. If I end up in Guantanamo Bay in an orange jumpsuit, every one of you is getting named and shamed in my Twitter, and I hope you're sitting beside me. Purely just for the fun and entertainment purposes. We'll get a nice suntan in our orange jumpsuits, and we'll be all tickety-boo. But yeah, so I feel very privileged and honoured to have a life. Your life and where you get to is through your experiences that you've had. And so my life and where I've got to and leading me to, being able to talk the way I do, a lot of flannel juice and gibberish. Sometimes people say I make sense, I don't know. These are all fully certifiable along with me anyway. So, yeah, it's good to talk. I was a best friend with Busby at BT, and I learned to talk. Big wow. I'm an umpty at many other things. But the people who inspired me, and I want to tell everybody to go there and be inspired by it. I mean, you can't bring that mass back again, but if the DVD comes out of it or whatever, I urge you to get it, purchase it, download it, watch it. Because the vicar, he was a wonderful speaker, wonderful guy. I'd love to get him on a show and have a wee chat with him. And Neil Lennon read he read was it a psalm he read? I think he read a psalm with Peter Lawwell. The whole mass was just wonderful because they did a few speeches and then they did a small play with a daughter, a mum and a father chatting about Celtic, and then all of a sudden on the other side of the play there was Brother Walfrid and I think it was I can't remember the names of the other two. I think one was John Glass and another one, I'm not sure if it was Michael Davitt or it was another person, but it was certainly Brother Walfrid. And they were chatting, and it was a wonderful scene. I thought it was when they first started it, when they done the lassie and the father. I thought, "Hey, what's going on here?" I thought it was taking a turn for the worse, to be honest. But I thought, "What this isn't really right in a chapel." But then when the whole thing happened with what was supposedly Brother Walfrid, and obviously when it's on DVD, it'll look nice, and sitting there, the TV cameras there was an instant relay onto the screens, and there was a screen right next to where I was sitting, and I was looking right at the action, and I could, without moving my gaze, I could watch a TV screen and watch them, acting it out, and it was wonderful. It was encapsulated. They were dressed in the period costume all the time, and it took you there. It took you there in the chapel where it happened 125 years ago. It took you there. It was a 3D, it was a real life. It was wonderful to actually do that. It was special. I thought that part was really special, because, and then thinking, through what happened, thinking the reasons why they wanted to build the club, thinking the reasons of why they wanted to help out the poor people of the community, the Irish people in the community who had came here with nothing and just want to feed them. How simple an idea, how blessed an idea. And we follow in the footsteps of these true giants. We follow in the footsteps of people who weren't mindless aggressors or illegal occupiers or walking about other people's land stealing from it. No, yeah, they walked humbly from another land to flee the oppression in their own land, to come to another place where they would have called their home, where there was less discrimination, and they could gather together and collectivise as people have done. Humanity. You get a dog, you get animals who within a few years or months, these even when we're fully able to be mature and do stuff for ourselves, in reality, we rely on others. We rely on the community. And so the community that came here 125 years ago saw the necessity to help out the poor, people who were starving. So whatever bit of bread or soup or vegetable or meat or potato, a little bit of warmth in their belly. Maybe the brothers gave them some clothes for the cold winter. The life expectancy back then, maybe, God, who knows. The conditions, how harsh would have been. The smog in the sky and the cold fires in the tenements. Rat-infested squalor. Families, 2, 3, 4 families to the one house. 20, 30, 40 people. Cramped, overcrowded conditions, cold, desolate. God help them. And from one game of football, they started feeding the poor and feeding the children of the Carlton and the East End and the dinner tables to feed them. And then they realised, how can we get more money in? How can we get more money in to do more for the community, do more for the starving, do more for the children? And Brother Walfred decided to, well, we've had some success through in Edinburgh with the Hibernian mob. And that was the model, the template that they chose. It was there in Scotland already. An Irish Catholic club, or just an Irish club, or just a club that looked to help humanity, to nurture humanity. We owe them a lot. At least we can think back and look back on that wonderful memory. Sure, we can't parade them on the pitch, 400 or 500 strong, walking about in their jackboots, waving their butcher's aprons. Sure, let them have that, the Sevco, Newco, Deadco, Crackpot. Let them have their bloodthirsty, illegal occupying troops. We have a history so beautiful and blessed, not born out of oppression. Born out of oppression, not born out of suppression of the rights of the Irish, the indigenous population who had to flee their homes to come here. And then for the intolerable conditions, the lack of jobs, the lack of proper housing, the discrimination, the beatings, the squalor, the bigotry, the hatred. What the early Celtic fans had to go through at that time, what they had to go through was just absolutely mind-numbing. It was mind-numbing when you look and see the conditions that they had to live through. God love them. So that's how Celtic were born, not out of mindless aggression, So yeah, when we play in a football pitch, that's a victory in itself. Just that one thing, to be able to play football as Celtic, Glasgow Celtic. Brother Walfred called us Celtic. For us to play in the green and white in paradise, that in itself is a blessed, beautiful victory. The fact that we're an all-inclusive club, every background, every minority, no discrimination. And the charity and good work ethos that was laid down from our forefathers, it gives us something to aspire to. It gives us something great to look to achieve. Hence the reason, if you look across the world, the Irish diaspora charity for others. less fortunate. So that's a legacy that's left. Not jackbooted oppressors rule Britannia. We're better than everybody else. We are the people. You know, when you say that itself, we are the people, so what is everybody else then? Lesser, superior, subhuman species? That's basically what they're alluding to. More than alluding to, that's what they're saying. Professors from country to country thinking that they've got an entitlement to everything and that they're better than everyone else and whatever, you know, it's a filthy, sick mind. And thankfully, hopefully, I don't suffer from it. Not having to live with these daft zombies, seeing them suffering in this way, with their club dying. Suppose it's a bit of a poetic justice that we have to suffer them. And let's get a good friend on the show tonight, if we can. I'm going to get him on earlier on, but I've been talking away, flannel juice and gibberies. Hello, have we got a parrot here? Are you on the Mellow Birds?
No, I just had one actually.
The Mellow Birds, right. So it's scampi fried fish and chip time, so hit me with the scoop. Have you got any scoops here, brother?
Oh, just the last maybe 12 hours told me since the latest bar I just come out from STV and other media outlets referenced the whole revision of the Scottish football system. You know, it looks as if the old Charlie Green's not been telling lies after all. But he said that the SPL, well, Sevco, or whatever you want to call him, he still calls them the Rangers, that they would never appear again in the SPL. By the way, the way he's projecting things, I think he's going down that avenue of proving the point. Then put out something earlier that Charlie didn't reckon. Now, this is a guy who's got a 3-month-old club, and he's basically dictating the terms to the SFL what's going to happen. So, Fraser and gang were on Radio Shortbread tonight talking about it. Basically, what's going down is they're saying that they don't reckon that the SPL could cope if Hearts would go under as well, sort of thing, you know. So I think Trainer's master plan is, funny old thing, he'd all the details of it. That would be for the SFL to take over and two teams coming in from there'd be two teams added, being coal teams, but both basically a Celtic youth team and a so-called Rangers youth team, whatever way you want to project it. But it's just the way, it's quite interesting actually. I said to you on the phone earlier, I put a tweet out. Now, usually my tweets are cash and carry, as you know, Tommy. I put out a tweet at 5pm this evening, and all I put on it was Scotland are managerless, one club dead, and a sitting on its last leg, all due to the SFA president. Our media chase a league construction story. So, I mean, to me, what's happening is, you know, that they're regurgitating this stuff, and fair play to the lad in the BBC radio studio. He came back to Jim Trainer's Moonbeam offensive by saying, well, I think you'll find that the SPL have no knowledge of this whatsoever, and they've just been alerted to it late this afternoon, and they've basically, the rules are that it's an 11-1 ruling that anything like this would have to be accepted. And basically, the SPL chairman, a few of them's come out already and says they will not back to, or giving them a help up the ladder sort of thing, Tommy, you know. So, I mean, the lads STV, Grant Russell and the lad Keith Sunday, no, they're relatively good at getting the information out there, but it's just the consistent ramming down your throat of this Celtic Rangers thing. They just won't accept that the Rangers thing is totally dead now, you know. And I put out a tweet no long after it saying that, you know, that they're all in the plane with a tartan army now. I'm sure the SFA president will be ready to join all the echelons that go with such an esteemed position. football fans all weekend for not supporting the thing to save Hearts. Now, basically, I was at the semi-cup final last year when Hearts put Celtic out, and basically they had Craig Beattie on the pitch, which they couldn't afford. And other teams in Scotland basically had a financial plan to say, come and play with us, and Hearts basically outbid them. Now, it's much the same as their old soon departed friends in Glasgow. You're paying for stuff you can't afford, Tommy. It's like you being my next door neighbour and buying a Ferrari. You might only have it for a month, but people's drove by your house to once and says, that guy in there owns a Ferrari. They'll never drive down your road again and know that you've not got it a month later, mate, you know? So this guy's not worried about his club, and then the next thing it's all Scotland talk because we're leaderless teams heading out to play a meaningless friendly without a full-time manager because they've got rid of their fifth manager in so many years, and they're unable to attract the right sort of person. They put the wrong people in, they want yes men, and our media, in my opinion, don't probe them enough.
You're right, mate. They don't. I mean, they don't. The way they got off scot-free, mate. It's beyond a joke, mate. How the media don't do their job properly. Because when you analyse it,
sorry to interrupt you, pal. I mean, I'm one of the few that probably talks more than you, scam. But the tweet I put out, and I said to you earlier on the phone, the tweet I put out about that one about the Scottish football president. Basically, 18 people retweeted that one, Tommy, and 3 of them were St Mirren fans. So this isn't just that. I think, and I said to you on the phone earlier, it's really, to me, it really is time that, although we all gathered together a few months ago and we quite rightly made sure that even though they get more than they should have, the entity that's emerged from the government region of Glasgow, it's time now for the Tartan Army, the rest of Scottish football, to basically just wisen up to what's going on here, because the SFA are just doing whatever they want. The SFL, I mean, I've seen the Livingston managing directors coming out acting very, very surprised on the Charlie Green Railroad. And so this David Longmuir's obviously in cahoots with Charlie. And as I said to you off air, I mean, Charlie's now in about Orange Lodges in South Glasgow doing the exact same pitch that he did on the Talk Sport show. And I texted you something earlier on, I don't know if you opened it up, somebody from Kerrydale Street has been given very good information. The fact that the share issue has raised an approximately, with the projected figures that people's offered to put in money-wise, 1.3 million, and it's going to cost them £1 million to actually administrate that and get the paperwork rolling on it, mate. So
they've only got how much? I thought you said they get 17 million, and how much have they got altogether? Only £1 million?
1.3 million. I sent you the text earlier, mate. It said that one of the lads on Kerrydale Street, somebody retweeted it and I texted you. I texted Declan it as well. Declan said hello, he said he'll give you a call later, so you can check through your phone to see, you can open it up. So this is the boys' rough estimate figures, yeah. So I mean, as you say, Phil McGillibon phoned up Beyond the Waves after the Barcelona game last week, and Phil was obviously saying the fact that the story he's doing at the moment is that they're obviously there's no money to burn, Tommy. I mean, the lads, I mean, I've said to you before, all the times I've talked to you, the main thing for me is it's working class folk are going to get shafted by the compliance of our football authority and our media are not doing their job and just putting this to sleep, because working class people are going to be getting themselves into debt at a dangerous time in the British economic system, and also a terrible time of the year when it's Christmas time. They're going to be investing money in when they haven't got it in a pipe dream. Now, I said to this guy, who was a Rangers fan, born and bred, 50-year-old, when they phoned me up and I gave him the same advice, and he's basically saying that the pitch that's going about is Charlie Green's going into the halls talking as if he's giving the same talk as he did in Talk Sport, and he's expecting people to buy into it, Tommy. You know, and to me, I mean, you're probably getting more levels than me, but what got me is the share issue that was to be a £500 share issue has now dropped to you can make a payment of £125 or £10,000, but if you put either amounts in, you only get one vote and one share.
See, the whole thing that I think they couldn't care one jot if not one Rangers fan buys into it. And I've thought it through now, and if Rangers fans had the brains and the wherewithal, they should buy every single share off them, right? Because it's only one way and one surefire way of guaranteeing that they, as fans, will be able to control their club. And you know, personally, I think now that Green and anybody who's a sensible, sane Rangers fan are able to see through the shite that they're spinning, right? And personally, I think that they don't care if they get found out prior to this, because it makes not one bit of difference, because they're going to get other what do you call them, venture capitalists to come in and take their shot at ripping the arse out them. So they'll sell it off to their friends in their city and they'll repackage it as more debt, and somebody else will come in. It's a vicious circle for them. That the only way they can get out of this death spiral now, the way I would look at it, is if they got together and bought the whole club through themselves. But as I say, they've not got the brains, the wherewithal, or the money, or the clout, or the nous, or anybody together to get it together to do it. So hell slap it fucking right into them.
Well, I mean, there's obviously Walter Smith's away back in there, Tommy, and another gentleman who I believe was part of the Blue Knights consortium. You know, and they've went in there, and have we even seen the title deed still?
This is the transfer then that could happen. That if they have got it, and if they've got it together, whoever it is, they're going to come in and take over at this point now. This is a key bit, that they've sorted everything out. They've went through the liquidation, the Yorkshire Spiv and his bunch of merry men. And by the way, Imran Ahmed, I never saw him on the list of directors. Do you think they've got him sacked or whatever? Do you think he's gone for a button? Because I don't see him anywhere recently. Do you?
I mean, I seen you tweeting Rangers Taskies. I've not had time to listen to the first one, but the way, I mean, I just spent an hour watching the BBC debacle there on Newsnight about what's going to happen. I mean, there was the Newsnight Scotland was on there, Tommy, and amongst all the political intrigue and what's going to go into the corporation, there was a gentleman called, there was a Professor David, I believe his name's Henderson, and he was from Glasgow Caledonian University, and he came out with this comment, and it wasn't even blinkered at, you know. There was quite a lot of highbrow media people there, mostly radio folk, and they came out and said the statement that basically, in recent times in Scotland, both the broadsheet and the tabloid newspaper industries are in catastrophic decline. Now, he's come out with that statement, and there's not been any, you know, if we were in a pub and you come in and said that to me, oh, by the way, Parrot, this is what's going down, then I would say, oh, it's causing that. You know, it's either a total irrelevance or a total blinkering to what's going on. I mean, the things like Twitter, Facebook, social media, the podcasts, Hail Media, yourself, people, the news is always out there, but people can get it now under their own steam. You get rumours, I get rumours, phone calls, and we can project and let people think Declan's probably driving up the freeway to his house out of Toronto, listening to two crackpot McDougals from Glasgow talking cash and carry nonsense over a mail buds over a telephone call, mate. But I mean, the whole thing is that now...
Don't crash your crackpot on my account. Stairs fucking clear all the zombies out of there, because there's enough zombies out in Toronto. So if you're there, Deco, hold it down the lockdown, stay fucking safe, watch out for the Toronto zombie division, and fucking Chuck Green, he's wired them out of the moon. So crack on, Parrot, sorry, but if you're out there, hold it down the lockdown, brother. Watch out if you're driving, drive safe. If you're over the other side of the pond, we fucking hate your government, but we love yous. Crack on, bro.
No, it's fine. I've also a wee shout out for the one girl who said she was listening to your show here.
God bless you.
I don't know what the lady's first name is, but no, as I say, Tommy, it's just to me, we're in the Scottish Football Society's club now, and the lads on like Paul Larkin said to me with the Homeboys Australian show I was on Friday, and the lads were saying, I mean, that result on Wednesday night against Barcelona, really, what a shot now for Scotland as a country. You know, we're not even looking at Celtic, we're looking at Scotland as a country. Because what I said in that show was, basically, and you're a huge fan of the club, Tommy, I mean, you've obviously been to Barcelona a lot of times, but I mean, basically with my old job and the travelling I did in the South American continent, the North American continent, wherever you go, Celtic basically piggybacked the brand Barca for 180 minutes.
Right.
So everybody's seen the product that was on show, maybe not as much in the Camp Nou, but certainly Celtic Park, they've seen the passion, they've seen the full stadium, they've seen Rod Stewart, all worldwide things. We were not talking about Alex Salmon and the shortbread mafia flying over in taxpayers' money to New York City to have Scottish Day. This was an event that was hosted by Glasgow Celtic, UEFA Champions League. The whole world's raving about it, and the back page of the Scottish newspapers, Hearts are in trouble.
It just shows you as well, bro. I know. I mean, it's a non, and you know what? It's an actually non-story, because if they went to the fucking tax man, right, and said we've only got 100,000, we'll give you the thing, it would get fucking sorted, mate. It's a whole fucking cock and bull nonsense. They say I'm going to deal with it later on, the whole charade with this BBC shit that they've been doing with the Masonic cover up with the paedophilic stuff, the paedophilia with that McAlpine. But we'll get to that later. But it's an absolute joke, bro, because see Barcelona, them and Real Madrid are the two world teams. Right, you go to the Middle East, right? See that El Clasico one back in August. It's a full tourist excursion. I was right on. My wee boy wanted it right in the front row, down by the 18-yard line, as close as you could get to all the posh seats, right? But later on, when we were able to walk through it, we could see, and it was just off all the Arabs. At half time, we're walking through, and the Arabs that were over there, and you go to the Middle East. You go from Palestine to Oman to wherever in the Middle East, and in South America, Asia, Barcelona and Real Madrid are now the two top teams. And so you're damn tooting every neutral, right, who wanted to watch a game, who wasn't following whatever other teams were out. To be honest, I couldn't even tell you one other team that played that night. That's apart from Man United and Braga. I couldn't even tell you who played. Did they play that night, or were they the next night? Fuck knows. But anyway,
they were that night. But no, as you say, though, Tommy, but basically the whole of
the world.
the whole of the world, the English media, Jamie Redknapp, Gary Lineker, Gary Neville, Sky, totally embracing and grabbing hold of what Celtic had achieved that night. And it wasn't like anything like all our achievements. Celtic's quite happily to produce it as representing a very, very small country, whereas our old neighbours who have died across the road sort of dragged the name of Scottish football into the quagmires worldwide because of what was happening to a very famous institution. Celtic managed to get the name out of the mud. And don't get me wrong, the rest of Scottish football's in a bit of a renaissance at the moment. Dundee United, Hibs, everybody's playing well. But you look at what's happening in the sense where the Scottish press, the English journalists, Oliver Kay, guys from the Observer, everybody was really, these guys, bread and butter's the most competitive. They're doing, like it or hate it, the English Premier League probably at the moment is still trying to portray itself the way Serie A did in the 90s with Van Basten and Gascoigne and Hullet and stuff, when the whole world looked round Italian football, who the Italian giants were going to side. The English players should still enjoy that. They realise now, they were looking at that on Wednesday night, Tommy. Manchester City's playing English champions, and they can't even sell out their stadium in a Champions League game. I've seen tonight that they're putting their tickets against Real Madrid out for general sale now. So So we're at a club where tickets for that Barca game were at Goldust, mate, you know, and basically the Scottish press would just try to extinguish, in my opinion, any sort of positivity about the result because they didn't want to upset the government tax dodgers, mate.
Well, that's it, as per usual, but c'est la vie, mate. We can bask in this wonderfulness of a beautiful club that is not born out of racial ignorance and prejudice. It's one that was born out of the humanity of looking after others less fortunate, and the fact that our fans can do that. And talking on, if I can get you to talk on the remembrance part. I mean, Celtic fans yesterday, we went along and we respected it, and I thought it was wonderful because they bastards to a man were just ready for waiting for one peak to jump all over it. So I mean, it's, a lot of people have mentioned this as poppy fascism. Now, I'll put this to you, and maybe you can give me what your thoughts on it. That a lot of people have suggested that the reason why this has all come to the fore because we were never put poppies in jersey. It was never spoke about 10, 15 years, 20 years ago. So, I mean, and that was closer. And the people who were still living, who were participants in the First World War and Second World War, weren't they calling for it? So this is my wee conspiracy theory, right? That in the last 10 years, that with the endless wars of aggression that Britain is now on a war footing to country after country, stealing whatever resource of the country they can get, do you think that this is a manipulation by the mainstream media, being the fourth estate and the puppets, the gendarmes for the Rothschild banking cabal selling the story, the poppy and all the forces try it in with what some people would hold as justifiable wars where we were fighting against the Nazis and the First and Second World War. People made a distinction between them. So the question I'm asking is, do you feel that this traduces the legacy of people who fought in the First and Second World Wars, having to tie it in with what they're doing now? And what's your thoughts on it, brother?
Go down the poppy route and why it was started. I mean, we've got to look at the veterans of World War One, then spent the 1920s and 30s worldwide in a totally Great Depression, which like we're probably involved in now. The gentlemen who and ladies who fought in World War Two, much the same, Tommy. I think we've got to look at the bigger picture at the moment. Is that there's you could look at it both ways. You could look at the fact that Charlie Green and Co were using the poppy campaign were obviously they're very open to any sort of advertisement. There's no such thing as a bad advertisement, free advertisement. But you've got to look at it the way the free parties, and that'll be a very humble opinion, look at it. Charlie Green, the poppy campaign will look at it that they'll be figure-headed and they'll appear on Sky News or Sky Sports because of everything going on. And there was various dignified ceremonies down in England, and much the same at Celtic Park on the Sunday. There was a very dignified minute's silence, and Celtic quite rightly, I think, mentioned the fact that Celtic players had fought and lost their lives, and Celtic fans had lost their lives in World War One and World War Two, as you quite rightly said. The aspect of Charlie Green is he's using the aspect of it to drum. I think we've got to look at also from the devil's advocate point of view. We've got to look at the Ulster 36 division that was basically cut down to a man in the 1st of July in the Battle of the Somme. And basically, to me, you look at people like that, and then you look at people who stayed in the African continent, who were part of the British Commonwealth, World War II pilots like Rhodesian gentlemen and such, who basically fought for Britain in the face of liberation against the Nazi oppressors and the forces of Japan. And basically what happened to them was, Tommy, in my view, is a lot of the people died thinking that they were keeping their country alive. It's the same way as all these Ulstermen were killed in World War One and World War Two. And basically, that's costed 60,000 votes because these guys have died. They'll never vote. A lot of them never had families, so the population sort of got a lot smaller. And you look at the third side of it, the NHS is getting smaller, the British Army, British Forces, they're building 2 aircraft carriers they don't really need anymore. The Air Force is getting turned into just little geeks playing on drones, flying down recon. We don't need them anymore. And the British Army's looking at going towards a more territorial role. They'd rather have less full-time soldiers, have guys that work in the factory 10 months a year, and bring them into service for 2 months or maybe an active 6-month campaign. So what you're looking at Ibrox on Saturday was you quite rightly said, the young lad, Gento, unfortunately, God rest his soul, the boy from Pollock, I believe, who passed away. Now, Central Scotland, through the Thatcher period beforehand, was always a big recruitment area for the British forces, all 3 of them. That lad Gentile being killed in the Middle East was a very bad day for the British recruitment drive. So what you had at Ibrox on Saturday was you had servicemen, I believe, I've seen a few pictures from the lad Vass who does the photography. You've got him doing the bouncy. And basically, it was a British Forces recruitment drive, Tommy. And that's all it was. They had a gun on the pitch, firing cannons, young lads looking saying, oh, this is great, this is what the armed forces is all about. And that's cynically been driven 3 months or 4 months in advance. They're up there, and it's cost a lot of money to move 300 people or 400 service personnel up there for the day or the weekend to do what they're going to do. But to them, that's worth it, because if they've got X amount of people turning up in the Queen Street recruitment offices on Monday morning, they've done their job. So they're all sort of, as you quite rightly said, they were looking for Glasgow Celtic for maybe, in fair play, the Green Brigade weren't party about, didn't want to damage the Celtic Football Club's name, and they waited outside the ground, and other people, I know a few lads that did, I stood silently in the ground for people who fought and died in World War I and World War II, and merchant seamen who died in the convoys and stuff. But as I say, that's not to dishonour those people's names who died, but that's another tick in the box for Charlie Green now. So I don't know if he's going to offer you a job to dress up as Santa Claus, mate, for the closest time they've got to Christmas.
Well, you know, if that gets me into Ibrox, I'll dress up as fucking anybody you want, mate. I'll go in there as Tutankhamun, mate. I'll go in there as a mummy. I'll go whatever they want. Santa Claus, if that says it. They want me dressed as Old Nick. If they want me dressed as a zombie, I'll go in there, whatever, mate.
As I say, Tommy, I can't emphasise enough how every pound that goes into the defence budget, you've got 3. It's like having triplets, and you've got 1 bottle. They all want the Army, the Navy, the RAF, they all want that pound, and they'll do anything to get it. They'll have their Regulus, tri-service, sports activities. You'll see the Red Arrows on the news. I mean, the Red Arrows is basically just a recruitment drive for the RAF. You know, because you wouldn't really see the RAF apart from that unless you go to the north of Scotland for. And don't get me wrong, they're fantastic. Air sea rescue what they do, you know, it's like the side of the forces and the stuff they do and the relief work and stuff. But
the problem I've got, bro, right, see the whole, if you look at it in the context, they say least we forget. Now, if you look at Phil McGilliban's blog, what he said, it was a good one.
Oh yeah, it was excellent.
It was how he touched on it, and how we should remember the dastardly deeds that these forces have done. Now, well, we've got one side saying, oh, it's all good and we did that. No, when your troops leave British barracks and go into other people's lands, it's for dastardly deeds. And sadly, the deluded fools, the people who go there and fight those wars, some of them, yeah, I can understand why when young kids who leave the squalor of the housing estates of Britain for something different. I remember taking one boy once before and I tried to talk him out of it. And he said, look, I don't want to be dealing drugs and I don't want to be doing that, and it's my only way out. And I was heartbroken for the boy because I could see what his intentions were. He just wanted something different, you know. And sadly, that's, like you say, that's the breeding ground that these bastards look to thing with young 17, 18-year-old lads, impressionable kids who know nothing really, and they get their claws into them. And you're right, that was a whole fucking breeding ground. The Job Centre and the thing would have been filtered anyway. But the problem I've got is how they distort it as if they're some kind of heroes. And that's what I was trying to put. You know, when I sat in that chapel, for me, I'd rather have heroes who go out there and try to save humanity and bring something beautiful to humanity and try and feed someone, try and clothe someone, try and educate them, instead of getting in as an illegal occupier, instead of getting in with brute force and stealing and robbing and murdering and raping and killing. That's no memory. That's no memory that I want on my name.
At the same time, you're looking at this will probably astonish you if you look at the very horrific storms we've had recently in America, North American continent and the Caribbean region. Now, obviously, Britain's got a few dependencies in the Caribbean. Those islands all year round are supported by relief ships paid for by Britain, and the Dutch, the French, and maybe the Spanish have got ships out there all year round from the military and support organisations. And basically, when one of these tornadoes or typhoons unfortunately hits the islands, these ships are sent to go and provide, as you said, relief, support stuff. And this is what I'm basically saying is that when this happens, the Navy will usually go in there and deal with it. But what you're dealing with at the moment, there's a crisis in the forces, because like anything, Toby, you want recognition for what you do in your job, and certainly, so when these naval personnel going to the Caribbean islands doing excellent relief work, you know, they're supplying fresh water and stuff, but they're wearing camouflage clothing, so when a newspaper, whether it be local or international, will take a picture of it, if you see somebody in a khaki uniform, you're going to think they're the army. This is what I'm getting back to, so there would be no way that it would just be the army represented at Ibrox on Saturday. The RAF made sure they were there, and the Royal Navy made sure they were there, and everybody was there, so some kid would say, well, that uniform looks different. But as you say, it's...
You're right, mate, you're right. It's fucking clever and cunning, and...
It's not just... Charlie Green may be thinking he's playing the government by inviting these guys in and girls in, and listen, probably know a lot of them would be, maybe know out of the 400 of them, maybe half of them didn't even want to go there, but we're told you're going.
Well, for the stream I watched, bro, it didn't fucking look that way to me. They were all into it, they were all giving it big licks with scarves and waving about. It looked like every single one of them was a dyed-in-the-wool zombie. But hey.
But I mean, this is the thing. So it's cost Charlie Green 300 bears, picoras, or pies, whatever I'm not on out there, but all cash and carry cafe these days.
Scampi and chips for the mellow birds.
They could afford mellow birds.
Tell me what the mellow birds is for the people out there who want to know more about this mellow birds. What colour is the tin? Is it a yellow tin that comes in? A yellow and red tin? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Oh, no. It's a very distinctive malty coffee with a blue lid, and it's got a blue-yellow label that just says Mellow Birds on it. It's like a cross between a malt and a coffee drink, but you can drink it 24 hours a day, and it's very little caffeine in it. Keeps everybody nice and mellow. But they pay their taxes unlike Starbucks, so that's how I drink it, mate. But no, as I say, for me the bigger picture is, I mean, just to give you an example, you're probably going to look at it, I mean, you look at the Olympics, helicopters, James Bond, naval helicopters, it's always in there, you know, James Bond movie 3 Links attacks helicopters, that wouldn't have cost Sam Mendes, the producer, director, any money. That would have been provided by the government to say, there you go, look at that's a Lynx helicopter, it's a Navy helicopter. This is how good their product placement is, Tommy, you know.
Well, closing up then, Brother Mellow Bird, we'll just because I'm finishing up the show here, and I'm going to come back on and we'll take a wee break. I'm going to come back later on and do a late night one on the BBC and the stuff, so maybe get you to join in with some opining on that.
I'll have my Willy Winky cat suit on, mate. I'll be having my scratcher soon, but I'll have a wee listen in the morning. You've talked about as usual, yes, Scamp. But
well, final thoughts then on what we've been talking about then. Final thoughts then, brother.
I think it's time the Tartan Army were really rationed up on this, whether it be your good self or other crackpot Bampots. It's time the Tartan Army. I've actually got a good mate in the Tartan Army. It's Luxembourg at the moment for the game. But I think the whole of Scottish football's been let down tremendously for a number of years, but I think certainly now the national games in dire needs. Campbell, he's been sitting there for 7 months since his job first came in. There's nothing personal against Mr. Ogilvie. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I've heard you talk to him. He seems nice enough. But for 7 months, Tommy, his position's been in a shaky peg. I mean, good reason or bad reason, that gentleman, the Director General of the BBC, was in his job 2 months. He's been caught out. He's wet. You're in a job a day. If you're a painter decorator, you're shite. You can have him left on one day. There's none of this. Oh, well, he's a nice guy, keep him in the job. He's probably, he's got a nice Audi A6 car or whatever he's driving about. Probably paid for by the Tartan Army. So maybe time the Tartan Army turned up a screw and see what they wanted.
You're right, bro. You're right. I'm going to go on the case tomorrow. Saying that he's away to Luxembourg, so I need to maybe head to the airport and hook up with him there, or get him back on the Thursday when he comes back. But listen, bro, I'll let you go and get your mellow birds and get you cooped up to the night, and I'll speak to you soon, God willing.
Alright, yes, I'll tweet you later. You take care, pal. God bless.
Hey, well, God bless. Alright, yeah, we're going to wrap it up just in time to coincide with a lovely number, 67. Victor Wanyama. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to phone you back there by accident there, Stevie. I think I phoned you back by accident, sorry about that. So, we're on the march again with the bold 67's army in remembrance of the Lisbon Lions. And we've got new Lisbon Lions. They're off to Lisbon and they're going to rip Benfica, because we are the Lisbon Lions and we're going to win it. We're going to go to the last 16, the last 8. Then people will remember us of the 2012-2013, the Dead Coast Sevco generation. We came, we saw, we killed the Rangers. We're the internet Bampots, we're the crackpot McDougals, we're each and every last little one. Celtic fans celebrating, enjoy celebration. We are the team of the world. We are the best team, we are the best club in the world, in the universe. We've got the best fans who sing, who support, who have humanity, who believe in the goodness of helping other people less fortunate. We're not aggressors wanting to go in and steal from other people's lands. We want to go into other people's lands and give them the goodness of being a tin. Hail, hail, the Celts are here. Signing out now, and I'll come back. We'll take a wee break, maybe about an hour, and we'll do a late night special of the BBC and paedophilia and the cover up, Masonic or otherwise. Hail, hail, catch you soon.